So, today we're doing something a little different. Normally, I do reviews just, by myself. And I just say what I need to say, and that's it. Today, we're going to do a tag team review with me and Zorpox the Destroyer.
All right.
So,
guys, hello. And, we are the two most electrifying men in the toy review space. Right.
We're not wrestling. What are you doing, man?
You prefer that, or you prefer the New Age toy outlaws?
New Age toy outlaws. Wow.
All right.
Taking it back, man. The outlaws. Wow. ODC will get a kick out of that one because he's hardcore wrestling head right there. But,
yeah, I know.
But yeah, we're taking a look at the ALTERNATION line. I know they've been out for a number of years. There's been a bunch of people have reviewed them, but they all seem to be smaller channels. I don't know. It didn't seem like as many. We talked about this just randomly because we both looked at the figures and we're like, these things look pretty cool. They look interesting. Let's take a look at them. And I've had them in my cart for a long time. I know you said you had them in your cart for a minute. So we both took the plunge, and we have a lot to say because part of me can see why they didn't get the kind of push that they should. And then another part of me still feels like they're not done, and there's room to make tweaks here and there, and it could still. This is the kind of thing we should be, propping up, and we should be supporting, because
exactly,
Marvel and DC can only do this shit for so long, and they've been doing it for nearly 100 years. There needs to be something else. I'm loving seeing McFarlane do his thing with both Spawn, Mortal Kombat, and the DC Universe figures. He's making Marvel Legends look kind of stupid. There's some figures where the paint isn't quite up to snuff. Like I just picked up Bloodsport. I saw him at Target a couple weeks back, and my son is like, you have to get him. You have to. And so I'm like, all right, fine. So I pick him up, and he's got the wrong colors. And I've noticed on Instagram, you see tons of people repainting him. And it's weird too, because in the package is the card with a image of him from the movie, and it's like, where did they get this orange and blue paint scheme? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
But most of the time that's not the case. But seeing other companies that are not Hasbro and not Mattel and not the big companies throwing their hat into the ring and doing cool figures is dope. It's what we need. We need as much of that as we can get. And companies like Pandamony Toys, they're doing it. They're doing all kinds of stuff that we don't see. This is kind of like a throwback to the Ninja Turtles era. And what would you say? We'll just jump into our first impressions. What do you feel about the figure we're looking at today? Is Sabotage. He's actually one of the enemy characters. He's kind of a drone, if I'm reading their information correctly. So what were your first impressions of that?
My first impressions was I had to get this guy because he's different.
Yeah,
hands down. The whole toy line was different, and it refreshing.
Yeah,
because we are accustomed to these popular IPs, Marvel, DC, G.I. Joe. We are accustomed to these things, so something fresh out of the box. And being an artist, you will appreciate things like this.
Yeah.
From scratch, you create something, and you plan, and it comes to fruition, and you're able to sell it and let people enjoy your idea.
Yep.
That's the best to me. That's the best. So, I saw this when these guys came out. I first saw them. It was in Toy Fair, right?
Same here.
We first saw them. Yeah, and so the figures, I was like, this looking dope. I will definitely, and the price, $25. You can't go wrong with what you're getting with it. Now, as Strydent said before, they have issues. Is a new company, a small company, right? And that's what we're gonna discuss today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not perfect, but they have the right idea.
Oh yeah, they do. And there's like things that are, so the things that they're lacking, they kind of make up for with like ingenuity in other ways, or just features that you normally pay an arm and a leg for. And this will also be for those who want to pay attention. This will also be one of those times where I always point out that you overpay for a lot of the gimmicks that other companies are putting into their figures. And in here, they put the figures in there, they put the gimmick in there and then some, and you're not paying a crazy premium for it, you know? And I hate the fact that that's the norm, you know, that you always overpay for stupid shit like lights and sounds or something. In some cases, you're just overpaying because there's lights, Mezco. They're always charging you extra for lights. I mean, I had to just ignore Dr. Fate because he had lights and they were charging you an extra $20 because of it. And it's like, LEDs don't even cost that much. So if you're going to add them to your figure, it's not even that big of a deal engineering wise. You just, it's actually less articulation, and you just hollow out one of the spots and put in your lights. So yeah, the fact that they do that sucks.
Yeah, the purist will say it's because of the cloth.
Yeah, but they're all cloth.
Yeah,
that's one of those hollow, you know, the hollow excuses you usually get in the comments when you bring up something logical. You know what I mean? Like, you see it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, my first impressions are similar to yours. I saw them in Toy Fair like 2 or 3 years ago, and it may even have been 4 years ago. I can't remember, but it was a while ago, and a couple years back, and they just looked different. And the first thing that sprung to mind was Ninja Turtles. I was like, these guys could fit in the Ninja Turtles like universe. You know, they could be enemies or friends, or, you know what I mean, mutants that they can save and stuff. And I dig that. Now, if you get to see the media that goes along with these, it is kind of cornball. I have to be honest. There's like comics and like these Flash cartoons. Ooh.
Yeah, but believe me, for this podcast, I sat down and I watched all, and you're right. It has certain parts of it cringeworthy, especially with, you know, the voice acting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you will appreciate what these people put out just to get, you know, notoriety for their product.
Yeah. Like if you like Street Sharks and, you know what I mean, if you grew up on Ninja Turtles, then there's a little bit of like, you know, you'll have some appreciation for what they're trying to do here.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the sculpt and paint of this thing. So Homeboy is pretty big. Lots of colors that you don't normally see on, you know what I mean? You don't normally see this on a big bag.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a joke, man. I was trying to draw this guy the other day. Remember I showed you the sketch?
Yeah.
Man, this thing busy, you know.
Yeah.
I telling you, if you watch his promo picture compared to his action figure, it has certain features on the picture, not here, you know, and vice versa. So it's like the artist and I was like, oh my gosh, I think we over designed this thing.
Yeah.
But
like the tattoo.
I appreciate this,
the tattoo on his right arm, like he has a cybernetic arm and then he has like kind of a human arm. And it's kind of funny because he's the one more humanoid character in the whole bunch, and he's the goon pretty much. I think he's the foot soldier of this line. And he's got this weird tattoo on one of his hands, on the human hand, that in the actual, you know, the cartoon, it's just a human hand. You know what I mean? Like, it's flesh toned or something like that. But no, he's from head to toe armored, with the exception of one arm, and that's the human arm. He's got cybernetic legs. You can tell because his feet are strange. They're not humanoid feet. All the sculpt work though is so detailed. I got to give them their props there. The colors nothing's bleeding, you know, because like a lot of times, you know, on smaller companies, the paint jobs lack, you know. I remember like when Marauders first batch of those task force figures, there was a lot of like paint issues and paint in the wrong place and things like that. It wasn't as rampant as we've seen with companies like Hasbro, but it was there on certain figures. You don't really have that here. This looks like what you would have gotten from Mattel or Playmates back in the 90s.
And one thing I could also mention is that the plastic feels like plastic.
Yeah.
This thing, it feels tough. I would not advise, you throw it out the window, but this thing feels tough.
Yeah, it does feel tough. Like they want you to play with them, and he has a couple little features. He's got an action feature. He does have lights and sounds. Like there's a button you hit on his back, and you'll see his eyes light up, and you get that sound.
Oh my gosh, no. Stop it, please.
I was surprised, though. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was going to be that clear.
No, I was impressed because I thought it was only the eyes that light up.
Mm-hmm.
But it tends to get a bit annoying.
Oh, yeah, of
while
course.
I was playing with the figure, my finger kept hitting that button by mistake. And you're hearing this thing throughout my place, right? And I end up taking out the batteries. But kudos for them.
Yeah. I mean,
engineering.
We're grown, so like, I'm gonna be real. Like, I don't need that kind of shit in my figures. So it's gonna get on your nerves after a while. I usually take, even out of my son's toys, after a while he gets annoyed with lights and sounds. Lights not so much, but the sounds specifically. So we usually have to go in and find the wires that lead to the sound and then cut those wires so it stops making the sound. So if you don't like lights and sound, that'll get annoying. But if you dig, lights and sounds, hey, it's there, and you didn't pay a premium. This figure's about 7 inches tall, maybe a little bit shorter, slightly. I want to say he's 7 because he towers over like your 6-inch figures like Lightning series, and he stands neck and neck with my NECA figures, which I'll show in the comparison part. But
sure.
He was only $25 altogether. So like paying almost $100 for Mezco figures that it's this with cloth and slightly more articulation, but no sounds, no action features as far as like he has this punch action, and he has this whole like a robotic. In addition to his cybernetic arm, there's like a support arm behind it, an fully articulated robotic arm behind it it looks almost like a hazmat robot arm that's connected to his cybernetic arm to help add to that punch, so you get that he's kind of a juggernaut-ish type character. He's powerful, and you have that in addition to the lights and the sounds, and he's only a couple dollars more than the standard figures. All the rest of the figures are $20. So it's strange that's you know what I mean? That's this company, they're not even a big name company, and they're able to do all that for less than $30. Yet you go to these more established companies that have been around for a long time, and they're charging you way more, and they're giving you less. It kind of it puts things in perspective. But his color's beautiful. The color scheme is tight. It sticks together all the way through. They didn't like lose it somewhere like old McFarlane figures used to do that, where they'd start out and the color scheme makes sense, and then you get to like the back of the figure or the side, and you're like, what is this? Like, where did these colors come from or something, But yeah, they didn't do that here. It's all cohesive, and it works, and it looks good. You can tell what's mechanical and what's organic, and yeah, it just looks really good, man. I like it. So accessories. Homeboy comes with 3 accessories. He comes with a big old Gatling cannon, and this thing is beautifully sculpted.
This is actually my favorite out of all the accessories.
Yeah, I like the railgun is my favorite. He has this big ass rail cannon, and it looks great. I was making Shredder use it the other day because it looks like something that would have been in the Technodrome in the old Ninja Turtles, because you
Yes.
remember that was the shtick with Shredder back in those days. Krang would give him weapons that he didn't have access to on Earth, and then he would try to use them to kill the turtles. So like when I play with my son, we're kind of redoing the stuff from the first 5 or 6 episodes when it was actually good. Because don't listen to all the fake fans out there that will be like, Ninja Turtles was great all the way through. No, it wasn't.
Nope.
The pilot week of episodes, the first episodes, and even in there were like 2 episodes where the art and animation went kind of, but like those were the best episodes. Everything after, when it finally got picked up, the quality dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped until it completely fell off. And they tried to bring it back up in the final season when they had the red skies and stuff, and they looked more, tough. They looked more like the movie, and the stories were just bad in that. But in those early episodes, though, Shredder always used crazy tech, and this fits in with that. He could even be something that came from Dimension X. He just feels like that, But yeah, he has this Gatling cannon with this huge drum clip that's underneath. So you can see the ammo. You can tell that the ammo is actually coiled up in there. And the thing has detail and paint. And this is a small company. And Hasbro just did their... they're in the process of doing the classifieds. And Beachhead came with these now later green guns with no details on them. No paint, no nothing. And here, this smaller company, there's blues, silvers, white on this big-ass, Gatling cannon. It looks good. Then
for the real gun, don't forget to mention the skull.
Yeah,
that's actually sculpted on it looks like
it's like a battery.
It looks like a canister or some kind of thing on top there.
Yeah, I think it's a battery for it. Yeah, they sculpted a lot of the details. Nothing is tampoed on. That's one of the best things about this. Sometimes they do that where they stamp the sticker kind of onto your figures and whatnot. A lot of times they do that with Superman. Like some of the more generic Superman figures, and DCUC did this often, they would stamp the S shield on his chest instead of sculpting it. You know what I mean? So that it's perfect and it's in the right place.
Exactly.
Here...
And another...
go ahead.
Sorry. Another thing we can mention too is the mix of plastics, because it actually have this soft rubbery feel.
Yeah.
And then certain areas on both guns, you'll get this hard plastic, and then others you'll get this nice soft plastic. So the figure will be able to hold the gun. It wouldn't be a problem to get the gun handle in the figure's hand.
Yep. So, yeah, like the cannon, the central cannon on the railgun is a hard, like ABS.
Yeah.
And then or hard PVC. I'm sorry, I always mix those two up. I don't know why, but it's like a harder PVC, and it's embedded in the softer ABS throughout the rest of the gun. So they did a good job there. And then he has a knife, and the knife is the only spot that's reminiscent of what you usually get with domestic releases. It's all gray, no paint, same plastic all the way through, but it's tough. It's not going to break at the hilt. A lot of times you have, like with NECA, if someone comes with a sword or a knife, don't drop it. Don't drop the toy while they're holding that sword or that knife in their hands, because they're gonna break it. The weight of the toy is gonna make the blade break at the hilt. You don't have that issue here. It's a little bendy. It has some give to it, and but it stands up straight, so it looks legit, and it's a pretty big knife. So, if he's coming at your good guys with that knife, it looks like he's going to do some damage. So, yeah, they did the damn thing. It works. It all fits, It doesn't feel like they skimped on anything. What about my favorite of the bunch is the rail cannon. The Gatling cannon is dope too, though. I mean, it could fit with your, like, for those of you who say, if you're collecting the what do they call, the classifieds, and you want to give say you have the older Roadblocks, either of the 2 older Roadblock figures, you could always give him this, and then now he has a big ass cannon.
Exactly, and you could, you're right. Get rid of that Jaws of Life we have right now, and give him this instead.
The Jaws of Life. This probably would work well with the big Halo figures as well. The Jazzwares Spartan collection. It'd probably work with them.
Yes.
So yeah, these are good weapons. They're quality weapons. They probably, if we're being fair, they may work even better with the other lines than they do with this figure, which is bringing us. That was the perfect fucking segue into articulation. So this is where I'll let you start. This is where we have some quality, and then we have a bunch of issues. So have at thee.
So, all right. Aye, sir. So, what? All right, so the head has no articulation. I would guess this is to accommodate the lights.
Yep.
All right. That's a bummer for me.
Oops, sorry.
You can't let. You see what I mean? I told you. I told you you'll press that button by mistake.
Yep.
But all right. So articulation. He has. His hands could go 360, yeah, for you guys who like to make your toys hands go 360.
Yep.
Single jointed elbows. You have a swivel and a hinge at both wrists.
Yeah.
And
well, no. Oh yeah, you're right. There's a swivel.
Yeah, you have a swivel and a hinge on both wrists. Now, the thing that they missed the mark with is having a bicep swivel on this thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely to hold his gun. Because I remember you told me about this before we came on the podcast that they're severely lacking that, and yeah, that is correct. Even if they didn't want to break the sculpt with the arm, they could at least give us like what NECA does
at
with
the elbow.
swivel at the elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could have done that too. You have T-jointed hips, as they say, it could go forward, back. No waist swivel, no diaphragm cut. Again, this is to accommodate the sound.
Yeah.
Because the speaker is somewhere in the body.
Yeah.
Maybe in here. Yeah.
Well, he has barbells for the barbell for the leg.
Yeah, he has the barbells for the legs.
So it's like a universal.
Single jointed knees, and he has a swivel at the ankle, forward and back. He doesn't have an ankle pivot, so.
And he does. There is a. Did you say swivel at the knees too? Because there is a swivel. Like
he has a swivel at the knees too. Wow. Yeah. Didn't see that.
Here I go.
Oh boy, there we go again.
I'm about to put him down and not even do anything with it.
Yeah,
I'm looking over it. Yeah.
You see, folks, you're hearing it for yourself. That is probably the only annoying thing with the lights and songs for me. Just where the button is, you tend to just press it and it goes off.
Yeah.
But
another thing with him, the joints, and I don't know if this was it like this on your copy. My joints seem floppy, like loose. Where like like his legs.
Yeah, same here, ditto.
Yeah, okay. So like the legs, it doesn't feel like there's enough friction at the legs. I mean, he can stand, don't get me wrong. It's not floppy to the point where you can't stand the figure up, but sometimes when you're doing things, it doesn't hold like it should. The lack of the swivel in the bicep or even at the elbow kind of sucks, because when you have a big old Gatling cannon, in order to hold it and for it to look natural, you kind of need that swivel so you can have your, the arm holding the trigger closer to the body, and then the arm holding the big old handle towards the front of the side of the Gatling cannon. You got to have that arm stretched out, and you can't really do that. He has this weird joint, like the swivel. It's not even a swivel. It's like a hinge in his big robotic hand. He has it on both sides, but the robotic hand has it where it's almost like he was designed so that instead of having the swivel at the elbow or the bicep, you're supposed to make up with that with this enormous pivot or hinge at his wrist, and that's what allows you to position the gun where you want it so that he can hold the other part with the other hand. And I don't think it looks that great. It doesn't look terrible considering he's a foot soldier, he's the goon. You can you can kind of set it up how you want it so that it'll look better in a picture, like obscure the other arm or something like that, or forced perspective or whatever, and you could make it look good, but the lack of articulation in the head kind of sucks. Same thing with the waist. There's no waist articulation, so you kind of just have to make do. So that's what made me sometimes have him carrying the other gun, the rail gun, instead of the big Gatling cannon.
Yeah. Another thing too is that the arm with the feature, with the punch feature, the arm that's connected to the back, that's also articulated too. Yep. So that's pretty decent, and it articulates very well to her.
Oh yeah.
For the
it works, and it looks pretty good too. Nothing looks bad. You know what I mean? Like as you're moving him around, you'll see where the limitations are, but at the same time, the parts work for the whole, which is, it's pretty good. It's not bad.
And you know what this reminds me of? What I like about it, the arm that is connected to the swinging arm.
Mm-hmm.
It is like the character just got like this arm from a bulldozer or something like that, some construction arm, and just attach it to his body to help him fight better.
Yeah.
I like the hazard.
Yeah.
The yellow
stripes,
and black paint scheme on it.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of like it has like a very utilitarian assembly line, like he just came off the assembly line kind of feel to him, which is pretty dope. It gives you you get it. When you look at him, you're like, oh shit, they mass produced this guy. Like you can just tell by looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
So they convey a lot given the details and everything that you they have on here. But as far as go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I was just going to say a fair warning to you guys who want to pick him up. Just remember, the hips are loose. I've had some instances where he toppled over while I was sleeping. I have him on my shelf.
Yeah.
And you hear this heavy thing drop. I was like, what the hell is that? And when you look around the room, you're seeing Sabotage knock down everybody in front of him. So it's not bad, it's not terrible. He will stand, but just note that it is loose.
Yep.
Outside the package, yeah.
Yep, he is definitely loose. So, alright, so comparison time, or let's compare. I don't want to rip Pixel Dan of his term. So
that's okay, it's not patented.
I know, right? So he's not quite 7 inches. Because I know the McFarlane figures are exactly 7 inches. If you stand him up next to one of them, he comes up to about their shoulders. But he is definitely taller than your 6-inch figures. He kind of slightly towers over them. I mean, he's nowhere near your Marvel Select Juggernaut size. So he's stocky. He's kind of tall, but he's not the biggest thing ever.
Yeah. And the pictures kind of fooled me a bit because of that. I really thought that he was huge, especially when I saw the size of the packaging. I was like, yo, this guy looked like 7.5 inches. But when I got him, I was like, this is a little guy. He just big, right?
Yeah,
he is
real
stocky,
big and stocky. So he's, he doesn't quite. I'll have pictures, of up. You'll see him next to McFarlane stuff, NECA stuff, Hasbro stuff, and a figure art something. So that way you can see, where he stands. But he's much bigger than your NECA Turtles, so he will look like a threat if that's where you want to use him. Same thing with your Lightning collection. He could be a Power Ranger style villain. He's big enough, and he doesn't look out of scale. He looks like a smaller character when you have him next to the McFarlane stuff. And probably the NECA people, like any of the Arnold figures. I'll put him next to a Terminator as well, so you could see him in comparison to Arnold as well. He's short compared to those guys, but he's big compared to just about everything else.
Yeah. And what about putting him next to your Joe's, your 3/4-inch Joe's? You could pretend this guy is some kind of prototype Cobra working on, or
Yeah.
Fenris Company could fight against him.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I'll do that. I'll put up, one of the Joes so you can see how much he will tower over them, looking like the second to last boss or like some kind of mid boss or something in a video
Yeah,
game. Like he's
exactly.
huge. So yeah, that would work. That would work really well. I mean, like overall, I have no issues with his scale. I did, like you said, I thought from the pictures that he was much bigger. I mean, I won't lie about that. I really thought he was, at least 7, almost 8 inches tall. That would have been the only thing. Hopefully, down the line, they do provide like a figure that's kind of in that size range, because
Yeah.
that would be nice.
Let me ask you something before we move on, though. Any other figures you want to pick up from Phase 1?
I picked up El Rey. That was my favorite design of the bunch.
Right.
And he has a different set of issues, but he also has some similar strengths to this guy. And he's $20. And it's like, okay, so this is even cheaper, and he has some cool stuff going on too, which is weird, because from what we're taught by the bigger companies, anytime you add lights or sounds, they should be charging you like $100 more, and that's not the case. But yeah, I like him, and I like what is his name? Let me look up the group.
The guy with the spikes?
I think so. He has like a green vest on. Quill, I think is his name, right?
Quilroy, yeah.
Quilroy. There you go. So yeah, I have him, and then like in the second, I like almost everything from the second. The second wave. They look great.
But I know you'll throw up pictures for these people, for the people to see out there. But you see Alpha.
Yeah.
Alpha is a definite buy for me in Phase 2.
Yeah, same here. That's an example of you getting a lot for your money. You know what I mean? Like the design, there's so much going on. There's so much. The freaking wings on that dude, man. It's like,
yeah. And I'm looking at him now, and any of you guys that, of course, once you're a subscriber to Strydent, of course you'll know this. Batman the animated series, Man Bat.
Or even
Alpha is like Man Bat times 2.
Yeah, or he could be. To me, you know what I think of with him? It's funny because like they don't do this enough. He's like an alpha, a crazy vampire that you could have fight Blade. Because I don't have any vampires for my Blade figures. I always just use wrestling figures because they're just people, and just pretend. And what's up,
man? As you mentioned that this guy, you ever saw Bram Stoker's
Dracula? Yeah.
You saw that when I was younger. That thing freaked me out when he transformed into the big bat, and this thing reminiscent to that. His face.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Blade, definitely.
Yeah. You could even, if you want to go further and pretend it's like an alien vampire, like the movie Life Force, you could even go in that direction because he's got 4 arms and then the wings. So yeah, but his design is dope. Is real dope. Yeah. When we were talking about this, I had him bookmarked. before you even like hit me up about the second wave. I think someone else pointed him out, or maybe I just came across him while I was researching the line for the review, and I'm not a fan of Little Bighorn. I'm not a fan of Dart. I know a lot of people love Dart.
Wait, hold up. Is Albert you're referring to as Little Bighorn?
Yeah, that's what it says on the back of the box. It said Little Bighorn. I was like,
Because all right, so on my box, his name is Albert 7, right?
Yeah, in the comic it is too. But yeah, I just looked at the back of the box, and if you do a search right now, it'll show everything, and it'll say Villains of the Future. And the first guy, it says Little Bighorn.
Oh my gosh.
So they were trying to be funny, trying to be punny like the Ninja Turtles used to do. So
all right, another guy too, Bomber. Only thing that
damn tail.
All right. That tail, he's going to topple over if they don't fix that looseness on the hips and the ankles too.
Yep.
Yeah, so that might be a little problem. might have to put him on a stand. He always jumping at somebody, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, man, like the figure Sabotage himself will fit in most of your. I mean, you see, we went through the kind of like all the scales, and you could find a use for him almost anywhere, you know.
Yep.
So the bottom line with this figure, so in line with what we were just talking about, you know, we were going into all the other figures in the line and how they're all interesting and they're different and they have cool little, you know, paint schemes or color schemes, and like, you know, the actions make sense, and I don't know, we dig the overall feel of these guys. You know, they fit in so many. It's like they're scratching multiple itches through each of these characters, you know, and to me that's cool because we don't get that often. This is kind of the part. This is why I like the bottom, doing it this way, where I always talk about like the bottom line about a review when I talk about a figure, because sometimes there's more to the figure than just I bought a thing. You know, sometimes the design, there's more to the figure based on the design and, you know, kind of the concept that you're getting, that it makes the figure more worthwhile. Like he's definitely lacking in the articulation department just a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's still tough enough and well built enough that you can put him into whatever. And if, say, you have kids that you want to get into, you know, figures and give them an appreciation for action figures, this is a good place to start because it's a sturdy figure. It's got lights and sounds, which is way different from the stuff we collect, you know, unless you're specifically seeking out those figures that have lights and sounds in them. But the lights don't just flicker; they kind of slowly fade, you know,
it's like a pulse,
yeah, and it looks good.
It's his, and I using finger expressions, people, his overdrive. So,
yeah, it looks good though. It's just it's one of those things that it this kind of stuff reminds me of when I was little, and we go to, you know, whatever department stores you went to collect figures, Woolworths, Caldor, freaking Odd Lots, Job Lot, whatever. Like, you saw figures.
And as you mentioned that, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, you'll go in the toy store. Sometimes you only have, like, the majority of times you only have one figure to pick from.
Exactly.
You know, unless you're rich. And, you know, you'll see the usual suspects. You'll see Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, what have you, Batman.
Yeah.
And then you will see that toy line that doesn't have a cartoon, that doesn't have a comic attached to it, but it looks dope. Right in the corner next to these guys. And that makes your decision even more harder.
Sometimes
you're going home with this new guy, or you're sticking with the
old faithfuls. Yeah, sometimes it's easy because, I mean, if you only have so much money, you know what I mean? You have to make a choice because, you know, my parents didn't play that shit. They'd be like, you know, hurry up and make a choice. We're not sitting in the toy aisle all day long. You know what I mean? Because I'm tagging along with them. I didn't get those special trips to the toy store all the time. We got it like once in a blue moon if we did good on our, you know, tests and stuff in school, birthdays, Christmas. That's it.
So exactly. And I could give you, it was my birthday when I was in primary school. My uncle carried me to our toy store and he hustled me. And I was like, dude, it's my birthday. He's like, dude, hurry up and pick something. I remember that. He's like, but... And then, you know what I ended up getting? You remember, of course you remember this, G.I. Joe Star Brigade?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. And you know what? I kicked myself for losing this figure. There was a roadblock with the gold guns.
Yeah, I remember.
That rare today. Yes, the orange and black version.
Yep.
I had that guy in my collection. I'm kicking myself now, people. Kicking myself now. He was the one I picked up.
It happens.
Right, so, yeah.
Yeah, man. I tell this story all the time. That's how I ended up, like, finding cops. We went just a random time. I think it was the end of the year. I had a really good report card, And my dad was like, let's go on a drive. And we're all like, okay. Because my dad was an engineer. He worked on cars and planes. And so we always were going on drives because if he fixed the car, he'd drive it to make sure it was, everything was working right. So we'd ride along with him. This time he went to Toys R Us. We're like, oh shit. And he's like, yeah, you guys can spend this much, each of you, like $20 or something like that for each of you, which back in those days was like forever money because, Cops figures were $2.99. So like I took the whole 20 and got the Highway Interceptor with, what's his face, with Roadblock, the Cops version of Roadblock. And my brother and sister, they of course had to get a bunch of candy. And then, so they got like, $15 worth of candy and then like a G.I. Joe or something. You know what I mean? Something simple. My brother loved the core, so he might have got a core figure if I remember correctly. But anyway, the point is, I saw a guy that came with a bigger figure that came with a vehicle, and I was like, yo, I got to jump into this. I don't even know what these guys are. I can tell they're police. I play with Batman, so you need police officers, so here we go. Then the cartoon pops up, and I'm like, oh, shit. Here's this cartoon. I mean, looking back on the cartoon, I have it now, and it's questionable, but
yeah.
but I had so much fun with those figures, and it was one of those random things. This line feels like that.
But before you go on, I have to admit the Cops intro is one of the best.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Oh yeah, the intro to that show set you up to believe you were getting something better than what you actually got.
Yes,
because the tone of the intro is way different than the tone of the show. But it's good. It's good. The music, that Michael Jackson style, bass line that just keeps going, repeating.
Mm-hmm.
So good, so good. But that feel is kind of what you have here. I mean, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. It's not perfect, but it's and you hear that a lot. People always say like, it's not perfect, but it's okay. No, I mean like they haven't quite mastered all of the things that give you the feel of like the old school figures, but this is reminiscent of that. You know what I mean? Like I think once you get into the line and you start, looking at the designs and stuff, it'll pique your imagination in the same way that some of those old figures that were not G.I. Joe and not Transformers and not Ninja Turtles, in the way those did.
Yeah.
So any other pieces you want to add to it before we close?
No, I would just say just support these guys. They're doing good stuff.
Yeah.
For something that have no kind of no media attached to it at all, they're doing a bang up job.
Yeah, and
especially if you want a difference from Transformers and all these IPs we've seen a million times.
Oh yeah,
you could try this out.
And then if you're like us too, a lot of times we build our own canon with some of these figures. So this is kind of where you'll have room to do that. You can build your own little story, do what you want to do with this, and integrate them how you want to into your existing collection. You always have that, that freedom. So yeah, I dig them. I would say, if I was to grade the figure, he's like a low B, maybe a C plus, because that articulation kind of hurts, but it's sturdy. It's got, I'd say about a B minus. Let's be
a B minus.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Nice. This is a new segment now. I like this.
I grade them. I've been grading figures. I try not to do it all the time, but I want to give people an idea of like the quality of the plastic is great. The way the figure feels in your hand is great. You know what I mean? Like the effects and the gimmicks don't feel crappy. Sometimes they're figures that like, think about the old Toy Biz, the early Toy Biz days, as great as that was to have every character in X-Men explored in action figure form. Some of those figures, like fucking Gideon, for instance. Do you remember Gideon with the gold?
Yeah, I remember.
The gold arm bracers, and he had like the green ponytail. Gideon's power was to mimic your powers, but then the toy's ability was he had a fucking chop. I was like, are you serious? He had a karate chop. I was so angry. Like, of all the things you could have given him, why did you give him a karate chop? Like, that kind of shit
Oh my gosh.
frustrated
That was
me.
a cop out.
Yeah, it's like,
That was a different
don't
cop
give
out.
him anything if you're gonna give him a fucking chop. That's dumb. Here, this dude has like a spring-loaded. It's not really I guess it is spring-loaded. A spring-loaded punch
it's
action,
spring-loaded.
and then he
Right.
has lights and sounds. It's decent, you know. So, in my opinion, if you know, because I'm not big on gimmicks. I usually break the gimmick so I can have a figure that I can do what I want with. But I'm not gonna mess with that on him. It seems fine. I'm just gonna let him be how he is, and he fits in. Big old goon fits in perfectly.
Oh yeah, and to tell you the truth about the cybernetic super punch arm thing he has, yeah, I lined up a couple of figures and have him punch them down, skeletons over, you know, just to make sure it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's toys after all, and they come with these action features. Might as well use it, right?
Exactly.
You gotta make the noise too.
I know, right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a fun toy. It's fun. I mean, at the end of the day, the thing that I think a lot of collectors have kind of shied away from in their efforts to have the best collection and show it off and all that shit is they forget that the toys you get need to be fun for you. I think this is a fun figure.
100%. You said it there. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be, as they say, a dick measuring contest.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You're doing this for you and you like it.
Yep. So yeah, this guy is a win. I say pick him up if you see him on you should be able to see him on Amazon. They're always there. If they ever go on sale, I'll probably get like 2 or 3 more so I can have a little fire team.
Yeah, economic building too. Sure, right? It's a good idea.
But yeah, these guys are good. They're worth checking into them. I still have to reiterate though how disappointed I was with the lack of the bicep swivel or even the elbow swivel, you know. But still.
And that's the weirdest thing. They put the swivel on the knees.
Yeah, but not the elbows.
Just the elbows. And he holding the gun. And that weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But these are the things that, when you deal with like a newer company. I mean, they're not new brand new, but they're not as old as Hasbro. They're not as old as Mattel. They're more on the independent side of things. You got to give them a little bit because I mean, of course, there's going to be things that they're going to do differently. Also, you have to remember too, they're not reusing anything. Every single figure is all unique parts, unique colors, everything. So you got to give them props for that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll always say, what impresses me when a figure comes with 2 types of mediums, if I could say that. With El Rey, he came with a soft rubbery heel, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he has it's like that weird gummy rubber. It's kind of gross feeling, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a fish, like a legit, like an eel.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't see that kind of stuff much, Like the other day, I picked up NECA's what's his name, Muckman, and Muckman comes with a canister of ooze. You don't see that kind of shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like legit like green goop, like the ooze we got back in the day with Ninja Turtles.
Folks, you see, right? You see, he now announced that he get the Muckman. He didn't tell me anything, so he holding out on it. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I just saw the ooze canister, so I was like, let me talk about this real quick.
Yeah, that real cool.
Yeah.
Real throwback.
I know, right? Really cool. Like the slime pit from He-Man back in the day, it's like that. You don't get that much anymore. I mean, of course, we can buy ooze. You can buy slime. You can even make slime. But like, it used to be an accessory that we used to get, and here they're taking it back and they're giving it to us again. Same kind of gimmicky kind of feel here with Alternation. So yeah, before we just repeat ourselves 50 times, it's well worth checking them out. I think you guys will like them if you're into this sort of thing. I know this won't be everybody's cup of tea, but if you like quirky stuff, you like Ninja Turtles and things like that, these guys will fit in perfectly, and yeah, you'll probably enjoy them. So yeah, that's been our look at the alternation sabotage figure.
Sabotage. Yeah.
By
So you'll do another one for Alpha?
oh hell yeah!
I can't wait to do the review. Yeah, I can't wait to
When
do
Alpha comes out, we'll probably do that. I don't know if I'm gonna do El Rey. I might, and we'll see how that all turns out. But definitely we're gonna do just what we did here. We're gonna do that for Alpha when he comes out. I haven't even checked when he's supposed to drop, but I'll keep you guys posted. Of course, I know you'll keep me posted if I forget. And
yeah, no problem.
yeah, we'll definitely get up here and do that again. So yeah, that is our story, and we are sticking to it. So
wait, I want to say it. I can say it now.
What?
Peace outside. Oh, too early.
That was way too early.
All right, no problem.
But no. That was our story, and we're sticking to it. And yeah, that was our look at Sabotage from Alternation by Pandamony Toys, and it's spelled Panda and then money, right? I don't think it's with an E. Maybe it's just MONY, right?
No, it's actually Panda and MONY.
Okay, good. Pandamony.
And guess what, folks? It has a panda with an attitude, with a pink mohawk.
A pink mohawk, like one of the designers is kind of like that. He's got a mohawk. I saw him at a toy fair. One of the toy fair videos that I saw when I first saw this line, he was the one that was showing everybody what the figures are about.
Yeah, well, man, the way how things going these days, that probably to me that probably was like 10 years ago. The way how things going these days.
It feels like it. But yeah, I like this though. I've been wanting to do one of these where we split, it's a tag team kind of review where you get two people talk, you add their perspective, and then we show you the pictures just like I would do in a normal review, and see how it all comes out. And this, since you upgraded your mic and stuff, this is working perfectly.
Yeah, instead of all that knocking, and what was actually causing that is I made a makeshift mic, and it will slide on the headphones, and it may hit my face, and you hear the feedback and things. So yeah, that was annoying. So got an official mic now, so we're good to go.
Yeah, I used to have that problem a couple years back, and I didn't realize it for a long time. And then when I did, I was like, yeah, I gotta fix that. That is annoying. But thanks for doing this with me. And we'll do it again.
Yeah, there's no problem, man.
All right, guys, that is it for us. You guys have been great.
I can see it now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Drum roll. Peace outside.